Welcome to the podcast. Guys, we have a special guest today. We've got our man, Thorne. Welcome, Ty. Appreciate you hopping on.
Dude, stoked to be here, brother. We've been trying to make this happen for a minute.
It has been, dude. This has been in the works for a while. So I'm excited to get it rocking and rolling. I got to give this man a proper introduction. For those of you that don't know Ty, so this guy's been rocking it at Vivint for 9 years. Okay, these
Mhm.
stats are crazy. These stats are actually crazy. So take notes. He's got 1,200 personal career sales, $78 million in career revenue, which last year 21 million came from last year. So he's seeing some massive growth. We're going to talk about that. He's already up 68% on the year. And guys, if you know anything about business, being up 68% in any industry is absolutely insane. So we are going to pick his brain and see what he's been doing. On track to do $33 million in rev. Bro, slow it down, Ty. Slow it. Pump the brakes, baby.
Full gas, baby.
I love it. Okay, so not only is this guy a sales master, he's a recruiter, he's a leader. He also, one thing I've loved about Ty and what he does with his group and his content and everything is his financial literacy is incredible. So his guys, if you work with Ty, you're extremely blessed. This guy is not only giving you guys the sales nuggets, but also the life and investment and financial nuggets as well. So a couple things he's got going on. So he's invested in a shopping plaza. He's got 4 lake house Airbnbs. I'm curious to hear about those.
Yeah.
48 unit senior living center. And he's developing a 52 unit senior living center as well. Right now it's in the works. Sounds like.
hmm Yeah. Through
Um,
city.
love it. I love it. I'm excited to hear about this. 13 estate lots that he's developed as well. So this guy he's on a real estate rampage, sales, growth. Him and his wife are doing CrossFit. Show me your hands. You show me his hands earlier. Look at
Oh
this guy's
man,
hands.
beat
Hands
up.
are hands are bloody today.
New to the game, but we're gonna go get it.
Dude, I love it. Ty, so you're having extreme growth. I want to jump in a little bit here. We've got a lot of probably new sales reps listen to this and they're like, holy cow. 9 years at Vivint.
hmm
We've seen a lot of guys kind of come and go out of the industry. I'm sure you've had guys come and go. Why Vivint in the first place? Like, what attracted you to Vivint day one, and then what's kept you here?
Great question. And I talk about this with every guy that we bring in. I have a super unique background. I grew up in a very entrepreneurial home. My father's core business is actually the sales and marketing engine behind some of the biggest gurus in investing. Cardone, Ed Milet, Dean Graziosi. He's worked with Tony Robbins. And so I grew up in an atmosphere where legitimately there's a million ways to make $1 million. I really believe that. I've seen people crush in every industry. My gravitational pull towards Vivint was just, even though there are a million ways to make $1 million, all of them take a lot of freaking grit. Every single one of them, right? It's the best of those industries that are like crushing, but they're in it for decades. What I saw at Vivint was the legitimate opportunity to play for decades. There's a lot of places where you can go sell, and then there's a lot of high earning sales jobs. I think what Vivint offers uniquely is the ability to actually legitimately build a business, scale a sales operation with very little to no risk along the way. And it's just, the company has incredible runway. You and I have been here. The company's been going for 25 years. Since we've started, it's gone from a private $1 billion company to a public $36 billion company. It's just, when a company does that type of growth, the inner opportunity is so explosive that I think for anyone that can expand their time horizon, I just think there's a disproportionate amount of opportunity to go just get after it, to just put your head down and work and know that the company's gonna be there and there's new levels as you progress. And that was what put me. I just knew, hey, anything I do is gonna take a decade. This place has a legitimate decade path.
100%. I love you said that your risk is mitigated, right? Because you get to back
hmm
off all of Vivint's platforms.
Absolutely.
Because we run into a lot of guys, they're if they get involved in door-to-door sales specifically, like they're entrepreneur driven. Like they don't want to work your traditional 9 to 5 job. They're willing to, put on their boots and get to work and get paid for their effort. And a lot of these guys have that mindset of, you know what, I want to do this so I want to start my own business. I want to own my own company. And essentially we're blessed enough to be able to do that, but within the confines and the comfort of a multi-billion-dollar company. So you have the software already in place. You've got the
Hmm.
product already in place. We don't have to deal with inventory. We don't have to deal with technicians, any of that. Like we literally can do what most business owners are good at doing, which is hiring and training and producing, right? Producing revenue. So I love that.
Yeah, I just think, coming from a place where I got to see the stress and the burden of massive company, massive overhead, what that really looks like. When you're truly an entrepreneur, you don't just maybe break even some years, like you might be on the ropes some years. At Vivint, dude, your whole team leaves, go rip 200 and you make less, but you still go clear 200 grand. What are we talking about?
Right.
It's incredible to think you don't have to run break even calculations. Growth isn't your problem to run the financial model and pro forma on. If you can get more people to perform at a higher level, the opportunity explodes. Completely funded, no credit lines, no loans, no debt, no leveraged, expanded investors coming in and taking equity as you're trying to grow the like a traditional business route would take. You just have to go do the fun piece of business ownership, lead the vision, lead the pace, motivate and inspire, create amazing culture, and just drive revenue.
Yeah, love that. Love it. 100%. You hit it right on the head. So if you guys are anybody watching this, if you're thinking about running your own business, I would challenge you to sit down and see what it looks like to run your own business within Vivint. Again, like what Ty said, you've got all the protection of a multi-billion-dollar company. And yeah, if you go start your own company, there might be a little bit more upside, right? As far as
For sure.
earnings go, but not with how much risk I think comes with that little extra piece, right? You might get a little bit more on the upside, but the risk that you have to lose everything is so much greater. And so take a little bit less and run with a company that's already got everything built out for you, and you will go so much faster. I mean, how many businesses go under within the first 5 years, right? It's like it's risky. It's risky for sure.
And I think a piece that people don't even necessarily see because you only talk about the unicorn companies, but only 10% of small businesses registered in the United States ever break $1 million in revenue in a single year.
Wow.
And it's just so if you wanted to go learn the skills to truly go be a business owner, the reason that half of Utah County is ex Vivint employees is go play in the risk mitigated training wheeled entrepreneur playground that we get to play in, earn incredible income, stack a career. You and I have been in this game for almost a decade, decade plus now. If there's one paradigm like switch that I've had as I'm in my 30s now is I was way younger at 21 than I thought I was. That there's so much left. We could play another 10 years and still have two more full careers after this.
Right.
And I think that's hard for young professionals to understand. They think if I go down this rabbit hole, I'll be here forever. It's not very likely.
Right. Yeah. And there's so many guys too where they're afraid to take that risk too. It's all commission
Hmm.
jobs.
Yep.
They're young, they're in their 20s, and it's like, dude, you literally have no bills. Like, bro, maybe you pay your phone bill. That's about it. Like, you don't have wife and kids yet. Your risk is so low. Like, swing for the fences, dude. Go up, get to the plate like Babe Ruth, bro, and just swing it. You might hit it out of the park and change your life and change your get that generational wealth and change the trajectory of your family. Like, while you're young, take the freaking risk, get up and hit the bat. And if you strike out, like Ty said, you're so young, right? Like, you're so young right now. You don't realize how young you really are. You have so many opportunities to get after it.
Yeah, it's specifically on the risk side. That one I think is something I think that is coming down a lot. I think there are a lot more people where if you go the traditional route and you get a normal salary that increases at 4% a year, I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that if you can't go make significant income by the time you start a family into your 30s, that even if it is completely reliable, stable income, if it's below a certain threshold, it's more risky. So
Yeah.
you almost do not have a choice but to go find a way to get the skills necessary to go create more substantial income.
Yeah. I think social media has had a big part in that because a lot of these kids now they're exposed to the flashy lifestyle of social media. So they see people that have the cars and the houses. They're like,
For
I want
sure.
that. So then they get into their, they might even graduate college and and get their 9 to 5 job, and they're like, holy cow, this isn't getting me to where I want to go.
For
So they
sure.
start. I think there is this entrepreneurial kind of like mindset and growth right now that's taken off. So um, love that. But yeah, next, really quick, let's break down recruiting.
Yeah.
You've been growing at a massive pace right now.
Hmm.
Um, what's your strategy, dude? Do you do a lot of online recruit? Where do you find your talent?
You know, we do a lot of everything, a lot of campus, a lot of online. I've built a really formal relationship with a lot of universities, so I speak in their management series classes during hours, get internship credit through some schools. But I think maybe the most impactful thing that I could give to anybody watching who's trying to scale is where we really, I think, crack the code is at the end of the year, just assessing who are all grouping all of our reps against a pro forma and saying who are all the people that exceeded our projection. How how aggressive were they, how prepared were they, how easy was their interview and training process, and just putting that top tier and saying, hey, how do we make sure that we create a filter that throughout the next 8 months of recruiting, nobody that isn't that person that doesn't check the boxes that they checked off hits our summer program. And what happened was when we had a huge 100+% growth year, we had less people. We cut the team in half because we
Wow.
filtered harder. We put more people through the top, but had more barriers to entry, and we increased our total production. Then, when they went out to go recruit, these were all the A players who were the magnetic gravitational people in their social circles. And they now had a story. And the standard was so much higher that we're just printing that process again.
Dude, that's huge. How many recruiters like aren't putting enough volume out there, right? And so they just take anybody that they can get. And dude, it's such a slow, and it's a lot more work too. When you hire like a talent, it
Hmm.
like you said, it's the right person. They fit that category of these are the habits that this guy's already doing. Like, I'm not having to remind him to do things all the time. Like he's self-driven. What do you guys kind of look for actually while we're on that topic? What are some of the things you look for with that mold of your like top tier A recruit?
Yeah, so it's really simple. I think early in my career we tried to say, "Oh, is it the charismatic? Is he the athlete? Is he all these different things?" And then sometimes they're a giant bum. And
100%. Yeah.
it's just not who you think the kid's gonna be.
It's
And
hard
what
to
we just
tell.
started yeah, what we just started saying is, you know what? The best people in our job, regardless of A-type, introvert, etc., is just, dude, who are the action takers? So we have a 3-week filtering process that we run every new candidate through. In week one, they have to finish every piece of the onboarding, enter all our chats, attend our meetings. They have to go through a pay scale education. If they can't get that done in the first 7 days, what we've seen is like the person doesn't care enough. No matter how talented they could be, we're going to be dragging them all the time. What we see is guys that in the first 48 hours of the assignments given in week one, when they complete that, they're always our best people. Even the most weird, awkward, not uncharismatic kid, because when we drop them off, they go straight to door. And they're just willing to fail. They just want to get it done so fast that they progress. And you and I have been in this industry long enough. The secret sauce is not the quick wit, it's not the crazy, charismatic class clown, it's the savage workers.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of the guys in that have come from the top at Vivint, at least what I've seen, is they come from farms, dude. They're like farm boys from Idaho and Utah and the Midwest. It's like they just have that work ethic.
12-hour work days, no big deal. Talking to people for 8, whatever.
I love that, dude. I love you have that 3 week trial, right? You're like, hey, if you don't get these things done in 3 weeks, like according to the data that we've ran,
Yeah.
you're not going to be worth the effort, worth the time.
And I think you got to have an abundant mindset as a manager, as a business owner in our space, that you love to tell yourself, man, I've got these guys. It's a big year loading. But I train our guys like, hey, it's the same way that a rookie that can't perform treats knocking. They're chasing the same 7 callbacks for 2 freaking weeks, running around because they don't want to talk to a new prospect. A lot of our recruiters are chasing the same 6 friends that aren't going to move the needle instead of just starting a new conversation and getting realistic with where their business is. Go knock new doors and just get new conversations. A lot of our reps listen to this, pass alarms, whatever. They're willing to knock 8 hours a day to get one deal that pays them one time. If you get an A plus talent from recruiting, that could pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars for a decade. It's just how many doors would you be willing to knock to close that kind of deal?
Right. We've got people aren't treating their recruiting game like they do the doors, right? They're not putting enough
100%.
volume. Like, exactly. I
Not
love
even
that.
close.
We were talking about that this week with my group. It's like, dude, if you got to treat it like the doors, man, you got to go out there and contact just like you're contacting on the doors. And it's the same result. So I love that, dude. Who's you guys have had some big growth last year, 21 million. Who's been your big players? You want to give some shout outs to some of your boys?
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, Alex Hockman, crushing. He's been with me for 8 years. Sold 300 for the first time last year. He created the second 300 account rep in our program, who's been with us for 5 years. Ryan, some of you guys probably seen Ryan. He's a stud. Little older dude, got into the game at 32. He's running a solo office this year, going to do 2,500 accounts in his 4th year, just
Love it.
exploding. It's just Luis Soto, Raymond, Juan. Now we picked up Mark and the No So boys. I think we'll go do 6,500 to 7,000 accounts this year. It's getting fun.
Love it, dude. I love it. You feel like some of these guys, do you rather recruit guys that are from other industries, or you like to cold contact? Do you kind of go after the pest or solar guys, or just whoever you
I
got?
want I 100% prefer homegrown. I I just think there's a mercenary culture in the inter transitions, and obviously it works sometimes, but what we've seen is when we bring somebody from ground zero through, they experience our culture, our systems, our opportunity, our training, the way that we operate with transparency, the speed that we move at. We just we create a lot of sticky. And I
Mhm.
think, a big piece of recruiting is retention. And if you're retaining last year, our retention is over 85% coming from last year into this year. So it poises you for explosive growth. Your best growth isn't even your rookies, it's your sophomores.
Yeah, big increase in production with the softies.
Yep.
Any online recruiting, or mainly just doing the college campus stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to get more into the social. I
Mhm.
think, in my opinion, where I think the social is incredibly valuable. I've seen people pivot totally that way and had mixed results. I think your social is just your resume to convert. Just like we knock a door, the only reason to knock is to get inside. I think the only reason we generate the lead is to get in person. So I have a pretty hard rule. We love to generate a lead via social and use our social as a platform to help convert and be kind of visually verifying to somebody.
Like the business card, kind of.
Like the business card, it's rep testimonial, it's culture example, it's a drip sequence. It's really a marketing funnel more than anything else. But everybody's got to be able to be physically visited once a week. I think that's where we saw a ton of increase. We had the satellite rep all over the freaking country, and you just can't develop that person. Our industry takes a lot of touches.
Yeah, 100%. There's definitely some value in, yeah, being in person and having them around all the big hitters and they get a taste of the culture, they build the relationships, and yeah, I think that's what makes the job fun, dude, is the relationships you build with these guys, right? Like, as far as
For
the
sure.
actual act of going out there and knocking doors, like, dude, it's a grind. There's some psychology involved. I love the psychology of the sale, and the fact that we can get a customer from being a stranger to best friend in 20 minutes is a pretty crazy skill set that we get to develop.
Yeah,
But I think most guys stick around and grow because of the culture, the relationships that they've got. Right. And so
absolutely.
when you're in person, that's what you get. So I love that, dude. Let's pivot to, dude, your investments are sound pretty awesome, dude. That's cool. I didn't know the background of your dad and stuff, and where you came from as far as
Yeah,
kind of what you've been able to be surrounded by, growing up. And so I'm sure, does he have a big impact on your investments and what you've been able to do there as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just, when his whole world is the best financial gurus of stock trading to real estate to flipping to multifamily, whatever it is, he's got a guy that they're doing back office sales and marketing and ghostwriting their books for. So I grew up in a world we're talking about how to overfund an IUL at the dinner table when I'm 12 and
That's
running a
awesome.
pro forma on a multifamily.
It's awesome.
So yeah, I think it's just exposure, just like our space, right? How many times have
Mhm.
we sat with a kid and they say, this is fake, this is a scam, and it's simply just they have never seen something like it.
Right.
I think the investing world's super similar. It's not inherently complex. It's new rules, new patterns.
Just foreign. It's foreign to them until they get exposed to it.
Yep.
So I noticed a lot of your book is real estate.
Hmm.
You're kind of pretty diverse. So it sounds like you got some short term rentals and you got the senior living centers. Um, is there one that you started out with first and kind of worked your way up to, or what's kind of been your progression there?
Yeah. So the very first thing I did is just a classic house hack, and at that moment, it became very apparent to me that I do not want to do single family, single tenant, me be the landlord. Um, and I did that deal on my own, made a ton of mistakes. I was a sophomore in college. This was a long time ago. Luckily, it worked out. Um, but just immediately went into my first apartment deal after that, which the reason I just did the Airbnbs is I learned a lesson in that deal. I did a lower income, had some HUD. It was 52 doors. We just 1031'd the exit of that deal into the four lake house Airbnbs.
Oh, cool.
Um, and some of that was when I did the senior living. I have a very affluent new development. It's A class real estate. My tenant is amazing. Credit's great. Hiccups are none. Versus my HUD stuff, it was the appreciation wasn't as fast. The cash flow is good, but dealing with the tenants was it was crazy. We're going in and turning units, and people just let their dogs and cats just all over the place in the
Right.
house, and it's just crazy.
Yeah. A lot of
Um,
upkeep.
and yeah, and so you know what's crazy? I think in our industry, a lot of guys get gravitated towards real estate, or some type of investing. And what I learned really early was I actually really like what we do. And some people go do real estate flips and different things to generate income. I don't need it to generate income. I truly want it on the wealth side. These bigger deals have better economics. There's management opportunity in them. I don't need to run them. The lake house, the Airbnbs have a higher cash flow, so you can have management there. I only want to do deals that somebody else can operate. I want a phenomenal operator. I can bring cash, I can bring optics, I can do negotiations, but day to day, I don't want to be involved because this is my business. This is where
Right.
I got to be dialed.
This is your cash cow to fund all the other
Yep.
ventures.
Hmm.
Love that, dude. Any projects in the works? I know you said you're working on one right now, another senior living center.
Yeah, working on another senior living, just purchased some more ground for another one. We're working on potentially doing a JV on another big senior living. That's kind of been like something we're exploring pretty well. That tenant base is incredible. There's a lot of boomers liquidating their houses. They don't want to take care of stuff. They'd rather rent, keep it fixed, maintenance free, but they still want a community. They're
Right.
phenomenal tenants, 750
Mm.
credit scores. They
That's
take
awesome.
care of stuff.
Yeah.
um, so diving deep into that, and then I'm doing a couple. We're going to build a home on one of the lots that I developed, and we're going to start testing a couple specs, a little higher end specs.
Cool. Love that, dude. What investment advice do you have for some of these new guys just getting into the game? Because there's some guys that are coming up on some money, and we see them. We've been there, dude. I've
Hmm.
spent a lot of my Vivint money on stuff I shouldn't have spent it on. Right? I think we've all had to go through that. And so, what's some advice you got for these younger guys that are gonna probably see some good money this year? They're gonna have some money in their bank account. What's some financial advice for these guys?
Yeah, I was super blessed to have a lot of good mentorship early, um, and I was really lucky that I didn't blow a lot of the early money. My first 6 years, I was investing close to 80% of the earnings. What I would tell you looking back now, and I'm sure you would probably give the same thing, is just if you can understand what those dollars pre 30 are worth, if you put them in safe places, you'll make different decisions. It's just the lifetime value of those dollars and the multiple on that money when you're young. I did the math for a rep the other day. At 20 years old, you put 11,300 bucks away, which is a third of what our average rookie makes. That's $1 million at retirement. You could literally mess the whole rest of your life up and you're a millionaire for the 11,000 you put away one summer. It's just
Right.
people have no idea how easy it is at those ages to become very wealthy,
Mm.
and they get depreciating cars and stuff. But first thing I would say is get really deliberate about what those future dollars are worth. The second is just create a percentage based budget. Just just be very, very disciplined. If whatever your number is, whatever you want to be worth, but I see so many guys, they make 80, they have an $80,000 car. And it blows my mind for a 24-year-old to make such a ludicrous decision, but it happens every day in our industry.
Yeah. Yep.
It's just go create some type of percentage and just abide by it.
Yeah. It's a lack of education, right? It's like I didn't have a ton of financial, people to rely on at a younger stage at Vivint, so I didn't know, right? So I'm like, yeah, buy the new truck, buy the new car, and these things. And it's, yeah, like you said, if you realize how much those dollars can compound if you put them in the right places, it's just having that discipline and understanding. Because especially these college kids, they're influenced by what they see on social media. They want to flex, they want to look good, and then a lot of guys justify it as it's going to help me recruit, right? If I got
Yeah.
the sports car, it's going to attract more talent, and it attracts some people, but not always the right people that you want, right? You want to
Yeah.
attract people that are impressed that you've got rental property versus a sports car.
100%. And I can, for people that are listening, they're like, nah, these guys are full of it. They drive nice cars. Now we do, but
Yeah,
we paid our dues, right?
right.
But my first year managing, I sold my car, drove a 6-year-old Prius, bought a house. I shared the master bedroom with two other dudes so that I could cash flow it while I was making 200 grand a year. Like
Love
those
that.
are the decisions that people see that are your A plus players. A super smart guy that you're trying to bring to run a team for you or a region, when he sees I made 200 and you've got a $180,000 car. I was that guy when I would meet with teams and companies and see that that was the leader. I'm like, this dude's an idiot. Like this is so bad.
Right.
And it's just you can impress people with all the other stuff and the discipline, and then when you get to that point in our industry specifically where your residual covers everything, there's nothing sexier than that.
Yeah. So true, dude. It's yeah, it attracts the wrong people, at least like you, for example. You're a top tier leader, and so the nice car wasn't what you were was going to make you make the decision to go do the job, right? It was you wanted the guy that had his head on straight and making good financial decisions. Um, I want to go into, so you're in your 30s now?
Just turned 30 this year, bro.
Cracked it. Congrats, man. Big 3-0.
Yeah.
And you've got a couple kids now, right?
Two littles. Got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Okay. So the family's going, dude. So as we with our job, we do travel, right? We're out of town a
Mhm.
lot. Kind of talk me through maybe how you and the wife balance that out, right? Because we are away from the wife and kids quite a bit compared to most people. And
For sure.
maybe some strategy for some of these guys that are like, how can I do Vivint when I am married with the family? What does that look like? What are the struggles? What are the pros? What are the cons?
Yeah. It's such a great question, and there's a lot to unpack.
There's a
Try to
lot.
keep it
There's a
as
lot there. Yeah.
simple as I can. I think I think something that we're not perfect by any means, but that we're above average in is alignment. And to any of you that are pursuing a spouse and you're thinking about, hey, I'd like to be married and have a family one day. Is this job sustainable? The answer I'd tell you is everything is if you make it. It's if you find that person and you guys have common goals, common dreams, there's always a price to pay. And we still find time for date nights. My family still comes out with me, but this will be my last summer on the doors as we made a plan to get to this phase of the business before my kids were in school. But there's always an opportunity cost. You and I both know plenty of people that are working overtime hour shifts and missing games late in their 40s to cover all the expenses that they didn't front load in the early phases of their career. Life comes at you fast. There's no easy button. I would just say the number one thing is alignment. We weekly plan every Sunday as a couple. At the beginning of the year, we calendar the entire year. We get our goals dialed, and it's just a lot of trial and error, a lot of trial and error. But the big stuff we're very aligned on. What
I
does our
love
family
that, dude.
mean? What are we chasing? What impact do we want to have? I think we're supposed to be busy.
Gosh, yeah, it's so good, dude. This is awesome. If you guys are listening, please take some notes on this stuff because eventually you will get to that point where you're in your career at Vivint or sales, and yeah, you're gonna have a wife and kids. And to find somebody that's in alignment, I love you said that. It's so key to make sure that you and the wife have the same goal.
Hmm.
A lot of these guys have even girlfriends, right? They're dating because a lot of the guys are on our that do this job are younger. They're in that dating phase right now. They're looking for that partner, that life partner, and sometimes they don't have that support, right? They don't have that support, or maybe they're not aligned with the
Yeah.
same goal. And so the guy's like, dude, I see the vision. I see what this could potentially be for my future and my family. And you got to find a partner that's on board with that and supports it and is going to cheer you on and not hold you back.
Yeah. Something I've learned as I've done it for a decade now is just alignment's interesting because, you might have a partner that grew up where both parents were teachers, and at 4 o'clock, they were home every day. And they're going to be stoked no matter what the income is if that's what you get. But you might also have a partner that grew up in an entrepreneurial family where there's lots of success and there were prices, but there was a lot of incredible opportunity and experience and development and challenge. And it's just, there is no right or wrong. It's just, do you both want whatever it is that the cost is, and do you both want whatever is on the other side of that price?
Yeah, if you're aligned, everything else falls into place. Everything else
Yep.
falls into place. The sacrifices are worth the outcome of that goal and that alignment.
Yeah.
Love it, dude. Question for you: what's your take on solar, dude? We've dabbled in solar a little bit. We'll get this might ruffle some feathers or might get some views on this one, this clip here.
Oh,
But
yeah.
2017 is when I moved to Dallas
Yeah.
from Utah, and it was a year where Vivint Solar was starting, where we had first started our little side business of Vivint Solar, and some guys left to go try that out. And I even sent some of my leadership up to New Jersey to kind of try to do the first integration of smart home and solar and try to sell both products. And they're just from the top, there wasn't a ton of alignment on compensation, how it was going to work out, and ended up kind of falling through. But now you fast forward 10 years, and we've kind of seen solar hit this spike.
Hmm.
And now that we see on social media, solar's dead is what some of the guys are saying. And so there's still
Yeah.
guys making great money. And what's your take on solar right now?
I'm honestly pretty neutral. We tested it a little bit when it came in. We had no success. We were in Chicago. The solar markets in Chicago were very different than the smart home markets. They didn't coexist. So you couldn't do both. You had to either go there or go here. Um, as I've had a lot of people come back, seen what's going on in the industry, my gut market analysis is that it's obviously you can make phenomenal money closing. There's for sure money there. Where I'm not attracted to it is, again, I think it's a great sales opportunity. I do not think it's a great business opportunity. I don't think you have enough runway or reliable runway to go build an organization, plant a flag, keep people moving through the ecosystem for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And we're seeing that. Damon Price, right? CEO of a company. He's back at Vivint. We've got a lot of these solar companies, whether they're saying it or not, are transitioning into life insurance companies like behind the scenes.
Mhm.
It's an incredible cash system right now. But if you're trying to go be in one place, there isn't a residual. Most of the equity in any of these companies doesn't exist because there's nothing to sell. There's no recurring book of business to IPO or to sell off. You want to go build a machine that has a real enterprise value. Smart home, full transparency to some people listening, could be a slower roll, but it's a much more sustainable roll. There's nobody in solar that's not closing actively that's making high 6 to 7 figures. Those are
Right.
guys working 365, closing 200 of their own deals every year still.
100%. Yeah, there's definitely some volatility in that space, and I think that's, like you said, manifesting itself with a lot of these companies that have been going under the last couple of years. So, yeah,
Yeah.
there is some stability with smart home and security as we've seen Vivint even pivot, right? Because when we
Mhm.
started, smart home products were kind of new, right? Lock your door from your phone, and doorbell cameras were just starting to kind of get hot, and now it's kind of hit
Yeah.
its peak. And just like anything during Vivint's time throughout the last 26 years, it's always been kind of Todd started this, but innovate, right? Innovate or die was our motto for a long time. And because we've been the innovators throughout the industry, we have survived the test of time. All these other home security companies back in the day, I mean, really, there's only three big ones standing, right? It's us and ADT and I guess maybe Brinks, right? But there's really only three big players out of 10, 15 years ago. There were hundreds, right? And
Yeah.
so we've been able to survive all that through just that innovation. It's a complete different product now than even 5 years
Oh,
ago, and then completely different from 10 years ago. So it's, if you want to be part of a company that is going to make sure no matter what, we are at the top in our industry and we are innovating and taking the proper calculated risk to make sure that we come out on top. I haven't seen another company do what Vivint's been able to do over the last 2 decades. Pretty cool.
yeah. I often say this. It's funny is I've had a lot of solar executives or whatever try to take. I'm sure you've had the same conversations, get hit up and come do this with us. I think my biggest thing is to me, the entrepreneurial side of me says, if I'm going to go sell the same exact product that everybody has access to, I'm not going to join you. I'm going to go compete against you. I'm going to go open my, like, why would I come be a piece of your machine that has no proprietary technology, no proprietary platform, no patented software? There's nothing unique. You're all wholesaling the same products. I just, I don't get it. Just go take the full upside risk if you're going to play in that arena,
Amen.
in my
Oh,
opinion.
love that, dude. That's, yeah, you hit it right on the head. So, Ty, for guys that are maybe their first year going into this, or maybe these guys have been here for 2 or 3 years and they're kind of spinning their wheels. They're like, dude, I'm
Hmm.
not quite getting there as quick as I want to get there. Like, what do these guys have to do, do you feel like, to really get that push and that jump of growth going into the season?
Dude, I love that. I think all of us had stall out moments where it felt like we were putting in the inputs that we were told to put in. And the only thing I can tell you, a few things is expand your time horizon. Alex Hormozy has a quote that people need to be reminded more than they need to be taught. And just keep doing the thing. Just keep doing the thing. I had my team for 4 years doing jumping jacks every meeting, saying the number that we did not hit. And then we finally exploded for 100% year over year growth. I'm sure you feel this way. If I could download into every first, second, and third year rep that hasn't hit 500, hasn't become a leader yet, hasn't crossed that threshold where they're making mid six figures, where they're just like, is this really for me? It is. I just can't explain to you how real the runway is. There are pieces you need to acquire. If you're at a certain level, maybe it's your sales skill. Focus on just the next piece of the puzzle. And the last thing is just you've got to be all in. I can't express enough. If you are not the safest, most foundational piece of ground, somebody else will be. Nobody is going to follow somebody that goes in seasons of commitment. If your reps see you waver, they will go to someone with a more sure foundation. Most B and C players, they need somebody that will lead them every second of the day. I'm just, and if you waver, you don't answer calls for a minute because you're looking and shopping and you're doing all the different things and you don't want to push because you're not sure where you're at, all your reps smell that like sharks smell blood in the water. And they will treat you the same way you're treating your own commitment.
Dude, incredible. We're gonna end it with that, guys. Ty has been awesome, dude. Thank you so much. For guys that are thinking about going out this summer or working, just go do it. Whatever industry you're in, if you're getting approached by any type of sales org, obviously we'd love to have you here at Vivint. If you want to get there, hit up Ty. I'm gonna tag his Instagram on here. Obviously, you guys can tell, phenomenal leader and mentor for his group. I've got a free sales course in my school group. You guys are welcome to have access to that. I've put together some trainings I've learned over the last 15 years over at Vivint from some of these top dogs that have left and gone to start their own companies. So if you want access to that, I'll link it as well. Ty, dude, I appreciate you. Been a pleasure. You're a
Pleasure,
freaking
bro.
legend, dude. You are dude, I love following the journey. So please keep posting on the IG. I love you and the fam, and you guys are doing awesome, bro. So I appreciate you for being on.
Nothing but respect. Love you, bro.
Okay. All right, boys. Appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.